Hey guys, it's Brian and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh match. And so for this gameplay video we have a special 2-in-1. It's 2 matches against an Invoked Sky Striker. This was before the NAWCQ, so I do want to apologize for not uploading this. I've been having to deal with a situation that's in regards to my father's health and my daughter's health. They've both been sick recently, and so I've had to deal with that and haven't been able to make any videos. But this is against my Dinomist Endymion deck. I will most likely still pilot this deck in the future in real life. However, for the diversity of the channel, I will still go ahead and vary it up with different decks. And there is a poll going on right now, which I do hope does go through in the OCG about which structure deck in the future we do want as players. And me being a Shadow player, I am very thankful that Shadows have been first place for this bit of time. So hopefully we do get that structure deck, and if we do, I will be building that deck for sure. Anyways, enough time has passed, so let's just get right into the match. And the first match, I'm going to be very honest, it wasn't really good for me. I bricked the first hand in that first match, but the second match goes a lot better for me. But as we can see here, as the match does start up, I draw 2 instant fusion and both of the dark words in the deck. And so with this deck, the reason why I only run 2 dark worms is that I don't want to draw at turn 1. And if I do, I don't want to draw 2 of them. Because the thing is, Dark Worm, I have plenty of ways to get into my graveyard, I have plenty of ways to get into my extra deck, so I know I can count on getting it out as fast as possible. But I don't want to draw it because I want to go ahead and maximize the amount of combo pieces that I can get into. However, as we can see here, not only did I draw that, but I dropped both of my instant fusions, which, as we all know, it's only once per turn. So this really is an inconvenience. He goes into terraforming into the Magical Meltdown, and at first I didn't think much of it, but when he does this, I was automatically going ahead and thinking, what's going on? Because he used the engage to search the area 0, and so he's pretty much just going to power through his deck. I did also see the Mystic Mind. He probably has 5 or 6 field spells in his deck. I will try to contact him later on, see if I can get his deck profile. But as of right now, you can see that he's just going off, getting a bunch of searches. Goes ahead and sets 2 because of the multi-roll. And I draw into a Dragon Shrine, which is the worst card I could have drawn because I already have both of the Dark Worms in hand. So I go for Dark Worm, goes for the nwyrkrb, and from here I probably should have just gone to game 2, but I decided to see what happens if I try to play it out. He doesn't have a ring in his graveyard, so I go ahead and automatically bait it out. So that way he doesn't have a way of going into any other ray effects for a little bit. But as of right now, it's just going downhill. He whiffs on the area 0. And I think he just goes ahead and misplay, but it really didn't matter much because I was pretty much just gone from the get-go. And so instead of scooping up after seeing a certain amount of cards, because I did see the Shark Cannon and the Hornet Drones, I probably could have scooped at this point, but like I said, I want to see how much of a board that you can put up. And so he goes for the Purgatory. I'm surprised he didn't go for the Mechaba with the Panzer Dragon, but that was his choice. It really didn't matter when I saw the Bullet Sword, and then he does go for the Mechaba. Game 2 of the first match, it goes a lot better, but still at the same time, I could have probably done something different. But here I have the master. I played this first in order to bait out any plays as far as any ashes go, because I want to go ahead and bait out the ash because I can still go ahead and just go into the Electromite without an issue. So here I go for the Electromite. He ogres me, which really hurt. If it was a Veiler, I could have dealt with it. So I send the other master because I don't want to draw it. Get back to Terran and just tell him to play from there. So here he just goes into the Ray, into the Hayate, and just does 3,000 damage to me. Sends a Widow Anchor, gets the Kagari, get back to the Widow Anchor. Surprised he didn't go for engage, but that's just my opinion. But he gets the engage anyway with the Shizuku. And I draw Chronograph, which is actually one of the best cards I could have asked for in this moment. So I just go ahead and go for Lifelinkus, use Charge Effect to go ahead and get back to Terran. Use Jack King's Effect, get the Master Service out. And here I am trying to just force out any plays, gets the Widow Anchor. Gets the effect because I was going to banish his monster, and if he didn't do that, I was really going to go off. So here I go for Triple Burst, go for Chrono's effect. So he does say Chain, and he goes for the Triple Burst instead of the Jackal King, which I was very surprised about. I would have just Veilered the Jackal King at this moment, because it really would have made a big difference. Get my 2 counters, go for Theseus, and here I go into Boil Savage. Get 2 counters for Electron being a Link 2. And he stays at 900 life points. I really wish I had another monster, but it really would have made a big difference, but unfortunately it didn't. I don't negate the engage, which I probably should have had looking back on it. And here he just goes, I hate the Afterburners, negate the Invoker. He had Invocation in hand. Goes to Purgatorio, and he just goes ahead and pretty much OTKs me from here. So that was very unfortunate. I really did think that I had a way of out of his board, but we decided to go for a rematch. I unfortunately do lose the second RPS as well, but the game does go a lot better for me in this case. So here he doesn't have much of a board, just a multi-rule Ray, goes to Shizuku, and the one face down is a Widowmaker. So here I'm just going to try and bait out as much as possible, see what he has in his hand. Thankfully I drew the seals because that means I will have a way of just going ahead and going to any of my other future plays. Go for Foolish, get the Dark Worm out, lets me search, which I believe was a bad decision, but go for the Desires, lets me draw. Unfortunately draw another Desires, but I do have a scale 8 in hand as well. So here I link into the Ultimate, and after doing this I Pendulum Summon, and I was thinking about going to Infinity first, but here I go for the LP, go for Triple Burst. Failures the LP, and looking back on it, I probably should have just gone with the Infinity. But I attacked first because I have a lot more damage on board. But I probably should have went for the Infinity in this case, because I would have just attacked him directly. And so here I go for the Seal and the Infinity. So he tries to go ahead and get as much advantage as he can, or at least some kind of presence, because all he has is a Widowmaker to stop me. His face down is an Invocation, so he was just looking for a card to work with. And because I had the Infinity, it really wouldn't have mattered. So here, I go second, and I'm looking at my hand, I'm pretty happy with it. I really wish it didn't draw a Time Gazer, but it is part of the process. But I draw into the MST, and I am debating about switching this for Cosmic Cyclone, but it's simply just depending on what you believe is better, because I put in MST because of the time rules. And that way I didn't have a fear of leaving it in my deck in case we had to go to time. But I would much rather play Cyclone. And that's still a debate that I am going through as far as putting it into my deck. So here he goes for the Invocation, and after switching off an Alistair. And he just goes ahead and summons the Raijin. And this game, I really thought it would have been better for me. So I pop the strike, go for charge. Thinking back, I probably should have just done the Foolish Burial first to force out the Ash, but it's still a good play either way. A, because that way I already have my charge on board and I still can get a piece to recover. So he decides to book the Terran since I couldn't have gone over the Raijin. And that also he didn't have a Ray in his barrier, so I just freely attacked into it without worrying about it. but because of that invocation loop, he's pretty much able to just go from here and just continue to search. Gets the ray off the area 0. And I was surprised he gave up the judgment, but based on the situation, it probably wouldn't have helped as much. Because here he's just going to go ahead and try and push for damage. And when I saw the sword, I pretty much knew it was game over. So, heading into game 3 of match 2, I was pleasantly happy with how the game turned out, because what happens is, as you can see, I have multiple ways of getting into the boards I want in this case. So I jokingly say please don't have a hand trap, because one hand trap could really just say it could really mess me up, but with this hand I had options to go into. So here I go ahead and normal and special summon the 2 Dinomist monsters, since Plesios is a scale 6. If I'm able to recover it, I go ahead and just pendulum summon something out from it. So I go into the Electromite. It has the Ogre, unfortunately, but I send a Master through my extra deck so that way I don't draw it. Use that effect to go ahead and get that out and set the Instant Fusion as a bait. He uses evenly matched, which I'm happy that he does use it. That means it's 1 less in the deck. And I just banish the Fusion because I want to make sure he can play as many counters as possible. Puts down the area 0, summons Ray. And since I have no disruptions, he just goes ahead and looks into it. And unfortunately unable to go ahead and get anything. I remind him to put back the cards into his deck. And I draw a Servant, which I'm very happy about. So I go ahead and I do the Servant first so I can make sure to still get a counter on it. So I use my Master effect to go ahead and pop all 3 cards on his field, because that does say up to the amount of cards that can carry a spell counter. I probably could have Pendulum summoned first, but I didn't want to risk that being another strike, so I just go ahead and pop all 3 and still have my resources in my S deck. So I just go ahead and just attack it to both of the rays. That way he doesn't have a way of just going into any other combos. So here he goes into the Kugari, respecting engage. Summons out the Hayate, and I was expecting him to play more spells, but I believe he was probably afraid of me getting counters at this point. But he does take the Master Cerberus, which I was not expecting for him to do at that moment. So he just crashes into my Mighty Master. And I just go ahead and search for Self-Out Mastery, since I do have certain Endymion. And as long as my next card was not the Destrudo, I was perfectly fine. Because I would have gotten the 3rd counter. Or another copy of Mastery. That would have been really bad if I drew another copy of that. So I draw another servant, and unfortunately, but because I do have Spellpower Mastery, I just go ahead and get them on my master, complete my scales, get all 3 on board. And so, as you can see, I Pendulum Summon on both the Mighty Master and the Jackal King. He decides to flip up the Widow Anchor as I try to resolve the Servant effect and scale, which I'm perfectly fine with. So what I do is I get another Jackal King, activate another Servant, making sure I have 4 counters on board. If he didn't do that, I would probably just OTK'd him. So I decided to go ahead and end my turn because 1 spell card means I already have most of my board set up. So he tries to use multi-roll. I negate it with Mighty Master and bring back the servant that's in my field back to my hand so I can keep the counter on field. Get a second counter on the servant and scale. And he has to find a way of booking both, or at least getting rid of both of my Jackal Kings before I can just go ahead and take off the scales. I'm sorry, take off the counters for the scale. Goes for the Mystic Mine. And here he's just going to go ahead and go for the Regent. And immediately books one of them, so that way on my turn, because I can't activate the effect while mine is face up, he's going to book the other one in my turn. I draw a Denko, which I'm content because that means he can't really respond to what I'm going to do. So I get out this, get out Mighty Master. That way, if it's not something that is a counter trap, I will be able to respond to it. So I go ahead and link away the Denko now. So go ahead and get Lymphalinkus, filling up a space for my board. Activate the Servant in hand to make sure I have enough counters on my board. And because he didn't have a response, I was just going to go ahead and activate Mighty Master's effect to go ahead and pop both cards and just go for game. Anyways, that's the match. Well, matches in this case. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you haven't already, please turn on those notifications and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content. And I hope to see you guys again next time. See ya!